So my first question that I had for you kind of goes back to your roots and where you got started. So when did you first become interested in abstract and expressionistic contemporary art, and why were you interested in it?
In abstract, that probably happened in high school. I had a really interesting high school art teacher who was actually later arrested for selling drugs on campus, but maybe you want to cut that out of this interview later. But he was really interesting, and he's the one that really, and this was back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And he's the one that really showed me how abstraction could really be beautiful. Something that I felt like I was painting as background to my subject matter was beautiful in itself and could become just the painting. And I think that's where the interest started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know in your more recent work, specifically the body of work that's around us right now, you have a lot of specific colors and shapes going on throughout your paintings. And I was curious what draws you to certain colors such as black or white, and primary and secondary colors with the exception of purple, and shapes such as circles. I've seen a lot of your work with circles throughout them. So I was wondering if you could speak to that.
For color, I paint in colors that I look good in. Honestly.
That's great.
It's true. So that, when I'm in the gallery or when I'm in my studio, I paint colors that are warm and inviting, and also they're colors that I look good in. So those are really how I choose my colors. And I'm drawn to those warm colors anyway.
Yeah.
And the circles, the shapes are really, they're more about the motion of the painting itself, and that's sort of, I think the circles and the lines tend to be more the path of the motion that's left on the canvas.
Yeah. Do you feel that there's a sort of emotive quality when you choose a specific color and a specific shape to go together?
Emotive quality, probably not. I mean, I like the really big shapes because I like feeling overpowered by the paintings. I want the viewer, when they're standing in here, to feel smaller than the painting. I want them to feel smaller than this shape and this painting. But so maybe that's a little bit of an emotive thing. But again, just the warm colors, because that's what I like.
When you're painting, do you feel that sort of like overwhelming sense when you're painting them, or you apply a certain color and a certain size?
No, I feel that overwhelming sense, I think, when I'm painting them, because I'm up on the ladder and I'm surrounded by them, because I paint more than one at a time. I usually have 3 or 4, sometimes 5 going at a time, and my studio is smaller than this gallery space. So I'm really closed in with them, and I've got really big lights going, and I like that feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you hope you communicate with your artwork, or do you have a hope to communicate anything specifically with your artwork?
I don't think I do.
Yeah.
They're really about paint. They're about paint and color and line, and it's nice if people like them, but I'm painting them for myself, and that's who I'm communicating with. It's nice when I end up communicating with someone else, but their purpose isn't to communicate something.
I suppose in a more pointed direction, I'm curious, with the specific colors and shapes that you use, you are communicating something like very different than, say, like, Marcel Duchamp and like what he was communicating with his artwork. Or even if you go to like Vuletich, who is also a contemporary artist, and just did like white canvases. So what differentiates your canvases and your style from artists like that?
Well, I don't really know what their intent is. I mean, my intent is getting that color on the canvas.
Yeah.
And the form that ends up being there, I mean, I don't want to, it's not like it's all by accident or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that. But the
absolutely.
form that ends up there is really, it's just the track of the painting. It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah,
really
no,
what
that
I'm
works.
conveying is the color.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
getting the color up there. And
Absolutely. So when you create your artwork, who do you envision as your audience? Or do you just envision yourself as your audience?
I'm the primary
Mhm.
audience, because all my work doesn't get shown
Yeah.
other places. Sometimes I'll keep it for a year and then I paint over it. I never end up showing it to anyone. But I mean, I do think about the other people seeing it and and
What they think, or
yeah. I mean, I guess it's important to me
Yeah.
that they think something about it. It's nice if they like it. Just, I'd hate for somebody to just walk by and not notice it. So I guess these are pretty noticeable. They do have some kind of reaction, whether they like it or dislike it. It is nice when they like it, but
well, that very
not
overwhelming.
necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My next question is about Edge, because I know that you're a member of Edge, which is a contemporary co-op gallery. And I was curious how that sort of communal setting has influenced your own contemporary artwork.
Oh yeah, it's influenced it a lot because I've been there for over 20 years, and I've grown myself as a painter, not just not just the size of the paintings, but also in just what I paint. Being a member of a co-op, I've been able to paint even more for myself because you don't have to sell your work at a co-op, which is really nice. It's nice for the painter or for the artist because you can do whatever you want. You know, you've paid your dues and you get to use this space and you can show anything you want. And so you do. I think you end up taking risks that you might not normally take. You know, for a commercial gallery, commercial galleries are wonderful, but they do have to really consider what sells. And so you're a little more limited. So I've been able to really broaden what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, and then also, you also in a community like Edge, you also have that camaraderie with the other artists, and that's really important too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that you probably get to speak to your audience a little bit better than too yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to do exactly what you want. Yeah. That's good. And my next question is sort of in tow with that. Do you believe this sort of communal setting is important in the creation of contemporary art, and if so, why?
It is for me. I don't know if it is for everybody. I think there are those artists that I think they live like hermits, and create art. I must go into my studio and create art, and they're all by themselves. And I'm sure there are those people and those artists. But for me, I really I like getting together with the other artists, and I like getting their feedback. Not always just on my work, but on their own work and the other people in the gallery, and seeing what everybody else is doing. So once you're out of school, you really lose that shared studio and working together time. And so that does bring you back, not on a day-to-day basis, but you can get that by going to meetings, going to the openings at your own gallery and seeing everybody there. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you guys get together and critique each other's artwork?
We have every other Thursday. We have what's it called? Faith Williams runs it. It's something artist critique. So every other Thursday, students or professional artists can bring in their work. And they just do critique, talk about their work. It's excellent.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's very
so
cool.
put that in there for students. Any students can come in and do that.
That's really cool. I didn't
Yeah,
even know
then we
about
hold
that.
it right there at the gallery.
Oh, excellent. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I think that kind of sums up all the questions that I have. I don't know
Okay.
if there were any specific ones that you wanted to talk more about, because I know we talked more in the beginning.
I know we talked about other stuff in the beginning before we
We did.
started taping,
Yeah.
but I don't know what we were talking about.
Yeah. I have asked you, or I spoke to it a little bit before we even sat down here today, but on Edge's website, it talks about the sometimes contradictory messages that contemporary art can present people with. And I was curious if maybe you could sort of speak to that in your own artwork and what that sort of
The
means.
contradictory messages?
As in like saying I'm apolitical in my artwork and I really push to be apolitical in my artwork. But there are
Right.
points where being so apolitical can become political.
Become political.
Like Jackson
Right.
Pollock.
Right. Meaning, I'm trying to make my paintings so much about
Nothing.
just about nothing,
Yeah.
just about the physical canvas itself, the physical painting, that then that becomes sort of a statement in itself. And I know, well, that's probably true. Because a lot of people will tell me that they see something in my painting. Oh, that looked like the one behind
Yeah.
you. I kept hearing when it was at a gallery that it looks like Bart Simpson. I was like, oh, thanks. I've never even
Great.
seen The Simpsons. I don't watch.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot. I don't
Yeah.
know. So I don't know, maybe I am making a statement
Yeah.
there about, saying no, it is not
Yeah.
about any conceptual idea.
Yeah.
So,
Do you struggle with that, or do you sort of distance yourself from it and then just immerse yourself in the paintings?
I don't even consider it usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
don't.
great.
Yeah, I don't.
That's great.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
It was
thank you so
enjoyable.
much.
Of course.